In today's video, we're going to look at how a polarizer works and how you can use it to improve your photography. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Dan Quintero. I'm a commercial photographer based in Sydney, and I make videos to try and help you with your photography. And today I wanted to talk about polarizers, specifically what they are and how they work, and more importantly, how you can use it to make better photographs. Now, I know that most of you would have already tried a polarizer at some point, but what I've seen people do is they typically just slap it on and see what kind of effects it has on your photograph. What I want to do is I want to explain to you why it does what it does so that you can make an informed decision as to whether you're going to use it or not. So in the context of what we're talking about, there are two types of light. You've got non-polarized light and you have polarized light. So most of the light that you see is non-polarized. So sunlight or light bulbs or light tubes or flashlights, all of that light is non-polarized. Now, when that non-polarized light hits a reflective surface, such as glass or water, what bounces back from that, the reflective light that comes off that, is polarized. And this is the light that you're trying to remove from your photographs. So we're going to do a little experiment. I'm no scientist, so just bear with me. I've got a flashlight here. And so I've got light traveling in this direction from the flashlight towards my hand, okay? And it looks like the light is actually traveling in a straight line. What's actually happening is that that light is traveling in what you call a light wave. So if you were able to see that, you would see something that looks like that. It's a piece of wire here to represent the light wave. Now, non-polarized light is made up of light waves that exist at different planes. What does that mean? So imagine that this light is traveling towards you. You've got your light wave there. Now, it doesn't just exist in this one plane. It also exists in this plane, and in that plane, and in that plane, and so forth. There's countless different planes. So all of those light waves that are not aligned to each other, okay, they're all traveling together, but they're at different angles. So that is non-polarized light. Again, sunlight, a light bulb, etc., etc. When that non-polarized light hits a reflective surface, such as, say, water or glass, the reflective light that comes back out of that becomes polarized. That means that all of those waves, the reflective light, they snap into one plane. So whichever way they existed, they all snap together. And now all the waves are traveling in one plane. So what you've done there is you've got polarized light. You've taken unpolarized light and it's snapped together and it becomes polarized light. That's reflective light, and that's the light that we're trying to remove from our photographs. And the way that we do that is by using a polarizer like this one here. Now, if I had a microscope that was powerful enough to see what was on this filter, you would see that it's covered in little particles, and these particles are aligned in perfectly straight lines. And these lines are parallel to each other. So let me show you what a polarizer would look like if you were able to see it with a microscope. It would look something like this. So you've got your lines going down that way, okay? But the lines are far apart from each other that light will still get through, which is why you can still see through a polarizer, okay? So you've got your polarizer, and let's say that you've got it aligned this way, and you've got your non-polarized light. And as you can see, the polarized light still gets through that. There's no problem getting through the filter. But as we spin the element on the polarizer, okay, just like we do on the front element here of the polarizer, what happens is that you're changing the angle or the plane of the lines. And so where it can get through when it's in this orientation, okay, when you spin it, the planes are no longer aligned. And so that light cannot penetrate through that. So essentially what you've done is you've blocked out polarized light. Now you might be thinking, hold on a second, if you've blocked out polarized light because it's at opposing angles, aren't you also blocking out some of the non-polarized light? And the answer is yes. Again, non-polarized light is made up of different angles, okay? So any non-polarized light that is also coming in at this angle will also get blocked out. But there's enough light at all the other angles for it to still get through and you still get an exposure. But that's the reason why when you put on a polarizer, yes, you can see through it, but as you can see there, it gets a little bit darker because you lose a certain amount of light, whether that be polarized or unpolarized. Any light waves that come at the filter at opposing angles it's going to get blocked out. Okay, so hopefully that's made sense. So now let's have a look at some practical ways of how we can use it to remove some of that unwanted light from our photos. Okay, so for this first example, I found this restaurant, which is, I think, an ideal place of where you would want to use a polarizer. You can see there's a bunch of reflections on the glass or on the windows. You can see all of the other buildings in the surrounding area, and those reflections are terribly distracting. So we want to get rid of them. So I'm going to spin my polarizer to the right, and you can see that those reflections pretty much disappear. So now you can actually see into the restaurant. You can make so much more details. The colors pop much more than before. And you've just gotten rid of a very distracting component of the photograph. So if I bring if I spin it again, the reflections will come back, and you can see how distracting that is when they're there. Next, we've got a similar type of scenario, except that we've got an overcast sky that also contains polarized light. You can see on the bottom of the frame there, the reflection on the water. And instead of glass, we've got water now. But as I spin my polarizer, you can see again, those reflections just pretty much disappear. And you can see the pylons now. You can see them in the water. In fact, you can almost see the ocean floor in there. So a much more pleasing shot again. Now, this one here I wanted to show you because just because you don't see any reflections, it doesn't mean that you don't have polarized light affecting your shot. And so I want you to keep an eye on the sky. I'm going to start to spin my polarizer now, and I want you to see what happens to the sky. You'll notice how much more vivid the sky becomes. It's just much more saturated. Again, a much more pleasing shot. And you'll see just how much of a difference as I keep rotating the filter with the polarized light coming through and then blocking it again. It looks like two different shots, and again, much more pleasing. So lastly, we've got an iconic shot here of the Sydney Opera House, and another example of just because you don't see any reflections, it doesn't mean that that light isn't there polluting your shot. It's going to be there all the time, pretty much, if you're in sunlight. And so what I'm going to do is, again, spin the polarizer, and I want you to keep an eye out on the sky and on the water and see when it kicks in just how much better the shot looks. It's more defined. Again, you've got more saturation, you've got more detail, there's much more clarity, and overall a much more pleasing shot. In fact, I'll show you the two photographs that I took, one with the polarizer and one without the polarizer, so that you can compare the two and see which one you think looks better. Anyway, I hope that all of this made sense. And also, if you did like this video, please don't forget to click the like button. It really helps me and the channel. And also it helps YouTube to suggest it to other photographers that are also learning. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to click the subscribe button and also the notification bell, and that way you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you have any questions about anything that I covered here today, just pop them down in the comments section below. That is the best place to get in touch with me. Otherwise, you can reach me through any of the usual social media platforms, and you're going to find all the links in the description. Anyway, that is everything that I have for you today. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.